Let's talk dimensional analysis. Now, dimensional analysis is nothing more than a fancy way of saying we're going to take something out of one set of units and put it into another set of units. So something like this is going to be given to you in most of the dimensional analysis problems you're going to do in general chemistry. This is a basic unit chart. You see what we're measuring, the basic unit is measured in, and the symbol that it represents. So let's just go through a few examples. Example number 1, we're going to convert 8.27 times 10 to the 1 quarts to milliliters. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that 8.27 times 10 to the 1 out of scientific notation. And that's going to give me 82.7 quarts. I moved that decimal point over to the right one space, and I knew to move it one space because I have one superscript right here. So had that superscript been a different number, I would have moved the decimal point a different amount of times, but we have a 1, and so I moved that decimal point one space. So the next thing we'll do is we're going to read this conversion chart and see what we want to use. So we know we have 82.7 quarts. We know we want to go to milliliters. Do we have anything on this chart that says quarts to milliliters? Well, we don't, but what we do have is we have quarts to liters, and we should know that liters is really easy to convert over to milliliters. So we're going to convert that 8.27 quarts to liters, and then we're going to take those liters and convert them to milliliters. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to cancel our units, and the units that cancel are going to be quarts to quarts, and we know that because that 8.27 quarts is understood to be over a 1, so it is diagonal. Now, in order for these to cancel, they're going to have to be diagonal from each other. So we see liters, and what does that leave us? That leaves us our units of milliliters. Well, all we have left is simple numbers that we can plug into our calculator. And when we do that, this is the number we come up with, 78234.2. Now, we have to go back to our original problem and count how many significant figures we actually have. Remember, we were converting the 8.27 times 10 to the 1 quarts into milliliters. How many significant figures do we have in the original problem? Well, 3. And so if we take our number that we found in our calculator, 78234.2, and move it into 3 significant figures, our final answer is going to be 78200 milliliters. All right, we have another example. Example number 2. Let's convert 26.2 miles to kilometers. We have miles to kilometers on here already. It's going to be pretty easy to figure out. So let's see, 26.2 miles, and then we'll just throw that on there, right? We want our miles to cancel. So we know that the miles has to go on the bottom because that 26.2 miles is understood to be over a 1. And in order for those units to cancel, they have to be diagonal from each other. So this is what we have, 26.2 miles times 1.609 kilometers over 1 mile. Our miles are going to cancel. That leaves us with kilometers. And we have simple math left. We plug that into our calculator for 2.1558 kilometers. We have to go back to that original problem with the significant figures. And so if we go back to the original problem, if you remember, we were converting 26.2 miles to kilometers. How many sig figs do we actually have in the original problem? That would be 3. And so if we take our number that we got in our calculator to 42.1558 kilometers, and we convert it to 3 sig figs, we have 42.2 kilometers. Now, this is rounding, and if you're struggling with rounding, you should go find our video on rounding. Okay, so 42.2 kilometers is going to be our final answer. Example. This is how many seconds are in 1 year. Now, the first thing I want to do is look over my conversion chart to see what I've been provided. I'm looking for anything that says year, and here I found it. 365 days equals 1 year. So if 1 year is 365 days is equivalent to 1 year, I apologize. Then what's my next step? Well, I need to get down to days because I know that I want my units for days to cancel. And so I'm looking on here and I see I have 24 hours in one day. So I know that I want my days to cancel. Day will go on the bottom, hours on the top. And then now I'm looking, do I have anything that says hours? Because I really want to get those hours to cancel. Remember, I want my final unit to be second. And what I found was I have 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So we'll put that on there just as we want to cancel the hours units or the hour units and have minutes. But really, I'm still wanting to go a step further, and I'm wanting to know how many seconds are in 1 year. So now I see minutes to seconds, and I know that my minutes need to cancel. They're going to go on the bottom, and my seconds are going to be on the top. So now we can start canceling out our units. Our years cancel, our days cancel, our hours cancel, our minutes cancel. And what does that leave us with? It leaves us with our seconds, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So now that we've done all the hard part of canceling the units, we can just take the numbers and do simple math. We have our units there. We get 31,536,000 seconds per day. We're going to round that to 3 significant figures, and that gives us 31,500,000 seconds per day. That is your final answer. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your instructor.